Hi everyone. So we discussed about in my previous chapters about the business, the features of the business organization. There we talk about the business is anything which can satisfy human needs and wants by taking that the candy cycle example. You can see that the person who started the business, the Karanga, he was able to collect some money and then he finds some place. He employed his own brother and then he actually doing some services. So it's anything. So you can write down the definition there. The business is anything that can satisfy human needs and wants. Business is anything that can satisfy human needs and wants by providing a good or service. Yes, you can say even the yeah, I'm getting a response like yeah, you can say that also organization that will provide goods and services. The most important thing you should be right that in order to satisfy human needs and wants, right? So it's a business organization, is anything. Business is anything that can satisfy human needs and wants by providing goods and services. So four elements are there: satisfying needs and wants, but by providing goods and services. Right? Business is anything. Business is an economic activity, right, that satisfy human needs and wants by providing goods and services. So that's the basic definition of business. And when you're making the providing goods and services, the examples you can see the difference between goods and services we can find out from here. By looking at this picture, you can find out in these two scenarios. The scenario here is you can see the restaurant. The person is waiting in the dining table for food. So the basic need in this case, so the human need is a food. So because hunger is a common need, like everyone, even every animal need food for their survival. So this time is expecting for food. So this is the human need. And so at that time, providing goods and services is happening in that situation. The waiter, the person actually holding a dish of food. So this is the want at that time. So he needs to eat this one. I think he might order some burger or we can't see exactly it's a sandwich or a pizza or whatever dish. This is a want. Human need is a hunger, the food, and this is a want. And then you can see the product they are going to offer. The product offering in a restaurant. So by the service provider, the waiter is a service provider. So this restaurant is a service providing organization and they are selling food. So food is a basic need and these are the wants. So you can order any plate. It can be a burger, it can be a pizza, it can be a sandwich, it can be lasagna, anything. So they are ordering like that. And then on the other hand, you can see there's another two humans are here, and the first one is a lady, and she's expecting a hairstyle. And on the other hand, you can see the hairdresser, the waiting to provide the service. So this case, you can see this case they are consuming a service. You can see a tangible good like this. Tangible good like this we can't see, but we can see for this hairstyle. So there are some bottles. I think I guess it's shampoo and some coloring shampoo and other equipments are here. So that means this is a good. In order to provide service providers, in this case the hairdresser, she's waiting to offer the service. So in this environment in salon, so these both situations you can see this is the two business organizations, so which satisfy human needs and wants by providing goods and services. The goods here you can see tangible goods is this plate and this shampoos and everything, and also service providers are these people, the service, the waiter and the hairdresser. So now you can see the human need is this case the person need food, and this case the lady need the hairstyle. So these are the basic definition of business. Now you can get some idea. Business is anything, economic activity, which can satisfy human needs and wants by providing goods and services. Right. Let's go to the main parts of that thing. What are the type of goods and type of services and everything? A business is any organization that make goods or provide services, and there are many types of businesses in the world, and these range from the small firms owned and run by just one self-employed person we call a sole trader. There are businesses who run by one person. Sole trader businesses are available. Like it's a salon. It can be run by one person. Person who's selling newspaper. Person who's selling fruits. There are so many places are there. One-man businesses are there, and also large companies also available. Like thousands of people are working. You can see the Microsoft, Apple, Tata, Toyota, like multinational firms, thousands of people are working all over the world. Like that. So in business, we are going to, in future, we are going to learn step by step these forms of business modules, like single owner businesses to multinational businesses. Okay. And businesses exist to provide goods or services. This is a good definition. So you can highlight goods are physical products such as burgers or cars, like physical in nature. Good, they have certain characteristics are there. So I'll tell you those things in later. And there are two types of goods are there. Two types of good: producer goods and the consumer goods. Producer goods are the thing that normally consumed by like ordinary people like us. Ordinary people, like we are consuming newspapers, we are consuming fruits, vegetables, right? Biscuits, crispy, anything. Consumer good that ordinary people are consuming. And producer goods mean the goods and services which produced by businesses. For example, photocopy machine, let's say industrial cleaning, right? Company security, market research, tractor, a bulldozer. So we don't need the like a tractors and like heavy harvesting machines. Only business need that kind of goods. Market researches and everything. Businesses need these services, not the other normal ordinary people. So you have to write down few examples under this. So in your textbook, so I'll show you the examples on the this one. On the consumer good, you can write down some examples like crispies. You can write down some kind of examples such as the consumer good. You can say smartphone, magazines, handbags, consumer games. Please write down these at least 4 advantages, 3 advantages. For the consumer goods and producer goods, you can see here the consumer goods section. You can write down smartphone, magazine, crispy, and computer game, handbags, like ordinary people are consuming. Right. On the other hand, the producer goods section, the other column is the producer goods. So you can write down producer good examples. Health producer delivery van, office furniture, tools, sugar cane, tractor. So there are 5 examples given. Write about 4. 5 examples you can write. The producer goods are normally the goods actually consumed by businesses like delivery van, office furniture, tools, sugar cane, and tractor. So you can find out these are the main example of that thing. Consumer good example, you can see crispies, handbags, smartphones. Producer good, now you can see tractor, industrial cleaning, tractor, and then you can say tools, sugar cane, delivery van, office furniture. These are the main industrial goods that they are using the business organization, right? Okay, now the other thing, Adi, you have a very good clear-cut identification. You know what is the difference between producer good and the consumer good. So let's go to the other side of the table, the services. The services mean the non-physical nature, the items such as non-physical nature, such as hairdressing, like there is no existence, we can't see, we cannot touch, intangible nature services. So services also we can classify into 2: consumer services and producer services, right? Like previous one, here also please write down some examples. You can see here the consumer services are healthcare, banking, air travel, education, garden design. Like ordinary people like us, normally we are taking these services. We are consuming healthcare services. We go to hospitals and doctors, and banking services, air traveling, and education service, and garden design services. Okay, write down a few examples. And the other side, okay, you can write down the producer services. Producer services mean like the services that actually consumed by businesses. These are market research, insurance, software design, industrial cleaning, printing. Okay, market research, insurance, software design, industrial cleaning, and printing. So these things, ordinary people, we don't need that, right? We don't need software designs. We don't need market research, industrial cleaning. Only companies, only businesses need this kind of things. Like Toyota needs market research, Unilever needs a market research, Nestle needs a market research, Toyota needs industrial cleaning. So much of items, metals, and everything will be wasted there, and also software design sometimes. These are important aspects of the businesses, producer services. All of these things are intangible, right? It's non-physical in nature. Okay, so these tables are important. I think you have a very good understanding and idea about what is consumer good and service and what is producer goods and services. Okay, now here the next table, I want to show the difference between the goods and services. Therefore, you can write down for examples the differences between the goods and services. Like if they ask, okay, analyze two difference between goods and services, or outline one difference between goods and services, then you should know the main differences of the goods and the services. So first one you can write down, goods are tangible and services are intangible in nature. Right? So what are the 4 points you can write down? Goods are tangible, services are intangible. So if you write down like that, for example, if in this case, if you type like goods, and on the other hand, if you say services, right? So here first difference you can write down, goods are number one, features you can say tangible. Tangible means can touch. You know, like smartphones, handbags, you can touch. Another second feature you can write down, durable. Durable means it's long lasting. Long lasting. That means you can use like for a long time. If you take a smartphone, we can use a couple of years, right? Handbag, we can use couple of years. If it is a school bag, we can use couple of years, right? So that means durability is there, like a good, for example, like a calculator, handphone, smartphone, laptop. You can use couple of years, at least 5 years minimum. Sometimes if you are good, like if you good maintenance, if you are keeping, you can use at least like another like 10. There are software upgrades are coming, but you know you can use it for a long time. Durability is there. And third feature of the good, you can see separability. Goods can be separate from the owner. That means that's why because of that you can store. You can go to supermarket, you can buy some biscuits, handbags, right, smartphones, and you can come from. So separate. You can separate from the producer. Separability is there. So another thing you can say can like separate from the owner. The fourth reason, the fourth another feature of the good is perishability. Perishability means can store. You can store the good. You can bring some items, you can bring ice cream, and you can put it to the refrigerator, right? You can bring fish and meat and you can store it. Perishability is there. So goods are like that: tangibility, durability, separability, and perishability. These are the main feature of the goods. But on the other hand, you can see in contrast, services are, you can see, intangible. Intangible. Intangibles means you can't touch. The opposite of the tangible is intangible. Number two, durability is there for the goods, but services are, we can say, non-durable. Non-durables mean you cannot touch, it's not long lasting, short term, like services. If you go to hair salon, the service you are getting from the hair salon is like only for short term. Sometime every month you have to go to take a haircut. If you are a boy, right? Sometimes, like let's say if you take the service such as, let's say medical service, you go to a hospital to see a doctor, the service is non-durable. Like you can't keep long lasting. It will give you some kind of like a painkiller or some medication. So at that time, you will give it like a sudden relief. It's non-durable. Engineer also same, architecture also same, teacher also same, non-durable. Another one is here the services are non-separable. Cannot separate from the owner. Example, you have to go and meet the service provider person. For example, doctor. If you want to take the medication, you have to go and see the doctor in person. Lawyer also same. Teacher also same, right? Face to face, like this. So that's why. Otherwise, what happen? I can actually all my teaching and everything. Actually, I can like give. But normally, teaching is with the tutor. The knowledge and everything you have to share with the tutor. But that's why normally there are some technological aspects are there. So we are going to record all the lessons, and after that we are going to deliver it. We can store it somewhere, and you can retrieve it. But non-separability is there, like a doctor, like an engineer, like a lawyer, it can be actor. So it cannot actually, the talent you cannot actually take home. The talent you have to go and take the talent, you have to learn from him. But you cannot actually separate the knowledge or service from the service provider. That's non-separable. And the fourth one, the in contrast, this is perishable, you can store, but services are, you can see, non-perishable. So that means you cannot store. For example, service provider, you cannot store. That, for example, but because of the artificial intelligence, we can store somewhere in the cloud or something like the lesson materials, we can video clips, even the doctors, the medication, everything. There are some even artificial intelligence we can see, but anyone can debate there. But normally, we normally usually say services are non-separable, like non-perishable. You cannot store it, right? Because normally service providers are human. So human, you can't keep like stocks of humans who have store services. It's difficult, not like goods, right? We can bring items and we can have a warehouse at our home and we can actually store that item. But services, we cannot do like that. Services actually depending on person to person. There are other differences also there, like goods actually normally standard goods are there. If you take a biscuit packet, like taste and the color and the packaging same, but services are diversified. You can see the services are normally, these are diversified services are there. That means different services are different from person to person. So to keep out that also, that's another difference. Service provider to service provider is different. Teacher to teacher, the teaching style is different. Doctor to doctor, his treatment style is different, right? Lawyer to lawyer, his presentation is different. Engineer to engineer is different. So there are diversification is there. That was another thing. Goods are standardized, services are not like that. So this is the point that you have to write down in this table, right? I hope everyone actually fill the blanks here. Let's go to next topic, the needs and wants. Right. So needs and wants, there are separate definitions are there. Needs are the main thing that you have to satisfy in order to human survival. Compulsory thing, mandatory, right? So needs are the most important, compulsory things that we must fulfill in order to human survival. But wants are not like that. Wants are the desires which can satisfy needs. Wants are such desire which can satisfy needs. So, for example, if I give needs are, let's say, food, and there are so many wants are there. People can satisfy the need of food by consuming rice, by consuming breads, by consuming pizza, by consuming macaroni, by consuming vegetables, fruits, so many. You can say you name any food, that's the type of want that which can satisfy the hunger, which can satisfy the food need. Like that, if we talk about the shelter, shelter is a need. Everyone needs a shelter. So what we can wants are there. Some different people like to live in different places. Sometimes cottages, sometimes palace, sometimes apartments, sometimes bungalows, sometimes chalets. Sometimes there are different wants are there. Some people, it can be an apartment room, it can be a hotel room, right? Different places they have wants are there. So keep in mind the business organizations, they have needs and wants. The basic definition of these things, please take down. Needs and wants are the need we can define. You can see here the definition section. Needs are the basic requirement for human survival. You write down needs are the basic requirement for human survival. Please write down. And the other one, the wants are people's desires for goods and services. Wants are basic people's desires for goods and services. So you can write down these are the main definitions and the two difference basic requirement for human survival. Right? You can write down example: food, shelter, clothes, basic human needs. But wants are people's desires for goods and services. These are the main two definitions you can find out in page number 3. And there's another table for what are the difference between needs and wants. Another 4 lines you can write down difference between needs and wants. Again, I'll show you in that table difference between needs and wants. So one side we can write down needs. Other side the table it says wants. So main features of the needs you can write down there. Needs are, let's say, you can say is common. Another thing is must fulfill. Must fulfilled. Third one you can see needs uh, it's a it's limited, right? Needs are you can see limited in nature, right? Another the fourth feature of need is needs are common, need must be fulfilled, needs are limited, and needs the satisfaction of need is a responsibility of government. Responsibility of government, right? Like all of us, I'll justify this point right now. You can see the common thing, right? All of us have needs like food, shelter, clothes, right? Everyone need that is common. So everyone need food, everyone need water, everyone need clothes, and everyone need shelter. All of us, all of us need this thing. So without water, without food, we cannot survive. Right? People will maximum sometimes will survive like 1 day, 2 day maximum. After that day, eventually die because of this body. In order to sustain the human body, we need to take nutritious foods and calories, and especially water. Without water, we'll dehydrate. Right? So that's everything is common for all of us because our system is totally actually common for all of us. We need food. All animals need food. Even birds somehow they find their own food and water. When monkeys also same, right? Even dogs, was staying. I guess in some profile, some of your profiles you have your dogs are there. So that means you can see we have to feed them because those animals are domesticated animals. So people are feeding those animals like birds, dogs, cats. So it's a common. All of us need food, water, shelter, everything, and it must be fulfilled. Somehow we have to even. That's why a lot of people they are doing some job or businesses or sometimes even begging for these things. Some people are begging for food. Somehow they satisfy that even from begging. Or some a lot of people are doing jobs and they earn some income and then purchase from the market their needs and wants. And other thing is it's all limited, limited, very few. We can number it. Food, shelter, clothes, education. These are the basic needs, limited for everyone. And the other thing is a responsibility of government. How? In case if there's a natural disaster, if there's a tsunami or flood or something, imagine now whatever there is no shelter, no food, right? No water. Then how people will survive? The government has to give all the facilities. Government has to give all the food, shelter, clothes, everything. Sometimes government might take camps. If people don't have anything to eat, government sometimes they are donating some food, dry rations, to people to cook. Or sometimes they give cooked food. I think might have experience like that, tsunami situations, earthquakes, sometimes, flood situations. The government always goes there to rescue them. It's a rescue mission. Even nowadays, I can see the vaccination is a kind of a need, right? It's not a want, it's a need. That's why the need, that's the vaccination program is conducted by the Sri Lanka government. Right? All the governments are in the world like that, US government, UK government, Canadian government, right? Thailand government, Singapore, everyone actually it's a responsibility of government to give this vaccine free of charge for the people, right? So on the other hand, you can write down the four main opposite part of the wants. So if you say the needs are common, you can see wants are diversified. Wants are diversified, different from each other. And need must be fulfilled. Want is not a must, not a must. Right? And third one, you can see needs are limited. Then wants are unlimited. Unlimited. Fourth one, needs is a responsibility of the government. Fulfilling needs is a responsibility of the government. Then fulfilling want is the responsibility of businessman. So it's a responsibility of a businessman. For example, government should give for people if they're starving from hunger, the government should give free free of charge, the food, the vaccine, free vaccination, everything. If education, the government giving free education, like welfare economics like Sri Lanka, we can see free education up to university, free hospitals, free medication. Sometimes for some patients, government spending some, large amount of money per day, especially cancer patients. Their medicines are medication treatments are very expensive, right? In private sector, if you're taking, for example, normal surgery, let's say heart operation, let's say bypass surgery, it will cost around 7-8 lakhs you have to spend. But in government, they are doing it free of charge because they know it's a responsibility of the government to maintain the like a health level and the the standard of living must maintain. Therefore, free education, free healthcare systems, sometimes welfare, like a public transport, logistic, everything. So government doing a nice, a marvelous job in welfare economies. But in capitalistic economies, you can find out so everything actually available in the private sector. The people should have, they must be able to bought it from their own money. For example, education. There are a lot of private schools, private universities are available. So anyone can join those universities and everything, and then they can go for their pursue their educational goals. There are private hospitals. They can go and they take their treatment, no need to wait in a queue like that. So there's basic needs are responsibility of the government. And but the wants, imagine some people they don't want to go for government thing. They don't want to take free education or free hospitality or free something. Sometimes some people want to get a better or high quality. Sometimes it's so expensive. They will go to the private sector like that. So it's the responsibility of the government to fulfill the basic need, right? Uh, like food, shelter, clothes, but it's the responsibility of the businessman to satisfy wants. For food, there are certain wants are there. That's why businessmen, some people like to actually eat the basic thing, right? Normally, like rice and curry. But some people would like to go for a Chinese restaurant, Indian restaurant, right? A Pizza Hut, McDonald's, like KFC, you name it, whatever the restaurant chain. So these are the wants, right? Without going to KFC, without eating pizza, people can survive. But different businessmen came up with like a novelty ideas, innovative ideas, and they created new wants to the people to enjoy their life because wants are unlimited, right? So like that for drink. Drinking water is a need. Government should give that thing. Someone in some province, if they don't have access to clean water, so government should give that water for them, like pipe system and everything. National water supply is there. But businessmen, what they are selling sometimes ice water, or sometimes they are selling Coca-Cola, sometimes they are selling like other carbonated drinks or fruit juice, anything. So that's a want. But basic need is water. So water, access to water is the responsibility of the government, but access to soft drink is a responsibility of businessmen. Because without soft drink, people can survive. But without water, people cannot survive. I think you got this idea. What's the difference between needs and wants? What's the difference between goods and services there? The needs and wants definitions are here. You can see in your textbook there. So let's go to the next page. You can see we'll continue with that. Nearly 500,000 of the business startups in each year to satisfy these needs and wants. We are talking in the UK scenario. The UK, they are starting around 500,000, about 500,000 businesses in the world. And nearly after that, what happened? A lot of business, what happened? Business failures also we can see, right? So, but a business startup is a new firm operating in the market for the first time. The vast majority of businesses are very small and operate in the service sector. You can see. So now we're talking about the different other small, very important business concept: supplier, customer, and market. Supplier, customer, and markets. So you can see these three situations. You can see the different sector: input, processing, and output. Input, processing, and output taking. You can see there are, as I told you, the economy is actually comprised of about 25 interrelated economic activities. So first activity you can say, like in this case also we can see transport and logistics. We can see in the both places, like this food and everything, the raw materials and the finished items, they are delivered by the transport and logistics, these containers or lorries, transport and logistics sector. And also we can see the agriculture sector here by using the tractors is industrial items. business products. So agricultural fields where the farmers are growing their potatoes. And these potatoes, they are taken to the factory to process in order to make their French fries, the fries making manufacturing thing. These raw materials, the natural resources which come from the primary sector, they are converting this one into finished or semi-finished goods in the second stage. There's a production process happening in this stage. It's another economic activity we call the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector. That's why, for example, that's why we say that everything is interrelated. Farmers are working, but the farmer's output has to be processed, right? If one aspect what happens is process output should be then go to the next stage. The next stage means they should deliver to the shops. Happy Burger or Burger King, whatever. So these are the places that conveniently these customers can go and purchase these items. So you can see it's a huge process, business, this entire economic activity. We can see different activities, transport and logistics sector, agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, and the hospitality like a tourism, restaurant and hotel industry we can see. So about 4 economic activities we can see. So now what happened in situation like a lockdown situation? If country close, what happened? Then logistics, transport can't process, can't operate. The government, the police say no one can't go. Now a lot of vehicles are there. Countries locked down. Factories have to be closed. But farmers still working. Then what happened? The farmers can't sell the output. Logistic people, they can't bring this output to the factory because factory is closed. And then what happened? There is no output now and the restaurants are closed. And because of the restaurant closed, the consumers cannot go to these places and they cannot purchase. So entire economy in trouble. Can you understand? This is one business activity. I'll explain that. But 4-5 economic cycles we can explain out of this scenario. Primary, secondary, and tertiary. Agriculture sector, industrial sector, and the service sector. Right? So this situation, you can see these arrows. These are inputs and this is production. These are outputs. Like French fries is output here. And then these outputs being purchased by this mom. So mom here, the customer, right? Inside the dining, the restaurant, you can see the mom is the one who purchased these French fries for the kid, right? The kid is the consumer here, the person, the actually consuming the goods and services, we call the consumer. Sometimes it can be one person. If mom bought and she ate, so that will be customer and consumer to one person. But this case, mom bought some item for the son. So mom is the customer, son is the consumer. Like that, for example, if your parent bought a pen for you, a pencil case or a book, so your customer is your parent, and right now you are using it, you are writing down the notes. So that is you are the consumer who are actually using the materials of the stationery materials and pens and everything because you are the actual user, you are the consumer. But who bought it? Imagine your parents, your father bought it. So father is a customer and you are the consumer. There's a difference between customer and the consumer concept, right? So you can see this process is actually explained here. The business buy the products they need from the suppliers, right? And the firm selling products to other businesses and sell it to customers, right? The individual who use this product is called a consumer. Sometimes the customer and consumers are different people. I explain like this situation, mom and son, right? Parents buy pen for their child to use at school. So business sell to customers in markets. So customer is always the person who spend money, right? And consumer is the one who actually consuming the goods and services. The market is any place where buyers and sellers meet to trade products. So market definition also here, please highlight that. The market is where any place, it can be place or space, even like online market we can see buyers and sellers can interact. Yeah, buyers and sellers can, buyer means a demand, seller is a supply. Buyer and seller can meet to trade products. Product means goods and services. This can be a high street shop or website. And finally, you can see the business are likely to be in a competition with other firms offering similar products. There's another thing we're discussing here, the competition part. Competition part. Okay, to sum up the session, we can see we talk about a lot of things today. We define business. Business definition, we talk about this business is any activity in organization which can satisfy human needs and wants. And we talk about the process of satisfying human needs and wants, providing goods and services by using this example. And we find out the two types of goods, consumer goods and producer good. Consumer good, I told you, like smartphone. Producer good, I told you, like a tractor, which is like a tangible. Consumer goods normally produced used by ordinary people. Goods are normally used by businesses. Services also we can classify into two, as consumer services and the producer services. Consumer services are the one used by ordinary people, like hairstyle, gym, can be a, like, doctor, insurance, something like that. And producer services are the services obtained by businesses, like market research, industrial cleaning, business consultation, something like that. And also we talk about the difference between goods and services. Goods are tangible, services are intangible. Goods are perishable, services are imperishable. Goods can be separate from the owner, services cannot be separate from the owner. Goods are durable, services are non-durable. And it always talk about the needs and wants. Needs are the important, that the main thing that must be fulfilled for human survival. And we talk about the wants. Wants are the desires of different needs that consumer are likely to have different things. And also we talk about the examples, the difference between needs and wants. We talk about needs are limited, wants are unlimited. We talk about the needs must be fulfilled, want is not a must. Needs are common, wants are diversified. Needs are responsibility of the government, but wants, satisfaction of want is a responsibility of the businessman, right? And also finally, we talk about the business processes, the business cycles, how it move on this world, the business activities are moving on. Always a business startup is a first time someone operating in the market, that called the first startup business. Every year, about 500,000 businesses are operating only in UK, right? You can see these situations. We talk about the potato farm, and then they are producing, manufacturing chips, and then goes to the market after that. And talk about the difference between customer and consumer. Customer is the one who actually buys the products from the business by paying money, and the consumer is the one who actually consume it. So we talk about with examples, necessary examples. It's all past questions are things. Past questions are always exam pilot areas, the needs and wants, consumer goods and services, everything. So I think for the business activity, we took a good step today in that first session. We talk about basics of the business concept today, right? So that's the first module today we discuss. So next session, I'm going to discuss about the value addition and the business sectors also, right? So business value additions and the business sectors. Okay.